Star Wars Battlefront 4 was a real thing, and I know you're probably thinking, how could Battlefront 4 be a thing when we've never even had a Battlefront 3? Well, the developers at Radical Design, the same guys who built the cancelled Battlefront 3, which I've covered extensively in other videos, had huge dreams and aspirations. They wanted to build not only the most ridiculously groundbreaking large-scale game in Battlefront 3, but also a vastly unique and different take on the Battlefront series in Battlefront 4. Now, what do I mean by unique? Well, this. Have you ever wanted to play as an insanely swole Emperor Vader? Welcome to Battlefront 4, ladies and gentlemen. Development of Battlefront 4 started out like almost any other game, with concept art, ideas, and mock-ups designed to give an overview of how Battlefront 4 was going to work, because the game itself was going to be like nothing we've ever had before in a Battlefront game. Now, here's where things get kind of weird. Have you ever wanted to play as a Sith Lord Luke Skywalker, or Dark Side Obi-Wan? What if Vader turned back to the light side? What if General Grievous wasn't a cyborg, but still used lightsabers? What if there was an evil Han Solo or a Jedi Darth Maul? Well, all these ideas were Battlefront 4. That was the game they were going to make before it was cancelled. Well, kind of anyway. Let me explain. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. So, if you've watched my videos about the cancelled Battlefront 3, you'll know about its shaky development history and why it was never released. To summarize, the developers overpromised on what they could deliver. There were internal struggles, communication breakdowns between Radical Design and LucasArts, and the game was super buggy, mainly because of its scale, and because it was being designed on the cusp of the new generation of consoles, being the PS3 and Xbox 360. After 2 years of development, LucasArts shut Battlefront 3 down, and Radical shut down soon after, so this game, Battlefront 4, was scrapped altogether. It never made it past the concept stage. But over the past few years, several early concepts and designs have leaked online, so today I thought I'd take you through some of them and try to piece together the Battlefront 4 that could have been. And this might be the most whack, weird Star Wars game you've ever witnessed. Let's have a look. So let's talk about the main campaign. There were basically two sides to the campaign, 10 missions in total, which you could play as either the light side or the dark side. And this is where things get really interesting, because only half the missions were Star Wars canon, and they'd, loosely follow the events of the films and the Clone Wars and everything that happened there. There were missions such as the Battle of Geonosis, you'd fight off the droid invasion in the arena, then join the large-scale planes battle in LAATs, and eventually face Count Dooku, first as Anakin and Obi-Wan, and then as Yoda. You play in Attack of the Clones. And each mission followed a similar structure to this. There's a few ground-based battles, maybe a space battle in between, and then a boss battle somewhere in there as well, usually at the end. In the dark side version of Geonosis, you'd fight the Jedi and the clones in the arena as the droids, then be deployed alongside CIS troops on the Geonosian plains, and then face Mace Windu as Count Dooku on the bridge of a crashed acclimator. And already, I think you have an idea of the ridiculous scale of this game. Building all these different scenarios in all these different locations way back in 2007, 2008 was a huge ask. And like I said, most of these missions were super early in development, basically just at the concept stage, and it seemed like the developers were aiming really big, just trying to pitch these giant ideas to LucasArts and be like, hey, we want to do this and this and this, and basically create the ultimate best ever Star Wars game ever. But let's get to the real stuff. Today, I'm going to focus on what the developers call these what-if scenarios, set in an alternate timeline. This is where this game starts to go pretty far out. Now, just remember, all of this, everything I'm going to talk about from now, takes place within the context of a Battlefront game. So just imagine you're playing, EA's Battlefront 2 large-scale battles, but with what I'm about to describe for you, the events, the characters, everything. I might cover other parts of this game in another video, but let me just show you how bizarre this entire concept was. Okay, so the first what-if mission takes place during the Clone Wars invasion of Kamino by the CIS forces. The first part of the mission is honestly quite similar to Kamino in Battlefront 2. There's a droid invasion, the clones are trying to stop them, and there's sky-to-ground combat with an acclimator lending support, like the Starfighter Assault battle. Anyway, so you're fighting as the clones, going through different objectives, and then you get to a point where you have to locate the Iowa hangar. You know those flying whale birds on Kamino? So you and a battalion of clones each fly one of these with mounted cannons on the front and prevent the droids from trying to destroy the city. So it's Starfighter Assault, except you're riding a giant flying whale. Then you get to take control of Obi-Wan and pursue General Grievous through the city, who tries to escape in his starfighter. So, for some reason, Obi-Wan goes and gets into Slave 1 and uses Jango's ship to kill General Grievous. For some reason, Slave 1 is here on Kamino, just chilling, even though I think Jango should be dead by this point, right? If we're back on Kamino. And you actually kill Grievous. Now, the dark side version of Kamino plays quite differently. We begin with the invasion, the dogfighting, and then break into the city as the droids and destroy the cloning vats, the pods each clone is born in. We need to destroy all of them to prevent future clones from growing. Then you take control of Count Dooku, and for some reason, Jango Fett is here and he confronts Dooku. I guess he's unhappy about the murder of all his clones, it seems. Dooku's gone and done dirty on him and, you know, trying to destroy all the clones. So you get to kill Jango and then destroy the city generator, sending most of the city underwater. And that's Kamino. And that is only just the beginning. Stick with me. In mission 2 of the What If scenarios, we find ourselves on Naboo following the invasion of Coruscant during the Clone Wars. We start with Padme cradling her twin babies, Luke and Leia, in her arms. Yoda and Mace Windu stand over them, smiling. A tender moment. Padme and Yoda exchange a smile. All is well. But then suddenly, Yoda ignites his lightsaber and senses an evil presence. Palpatine and Anakin approach Naboo aboard a Star Destroyer. The invasion begins and Padme has been cornered by droid forces. It's your job to help her escape as you fight your way through the Empire's ground assault. Then you fight through a bunch of starfighters in space, and then, for some reason, board a CIS control ship. One of the Lucahulks is just there, which, yeah, for some reason is also orbiting Naboo, and you activate the droid army as the rebels and use them as a diversion for the Empire. So you basically enlist the droids. So you escort the droid army down to the planet and engage the Empire's clones, then take control of Mace Windu and eliminate the remaining clone forces. And that's the mission, the rebels using the droid army to their advantage. From the dark side perspective, we start on the Star Destroyer with Uncle Palps and Anakin. Anakin, or I guess he's Vader at this point, although without the suit, wants to be the one to capture Padme himself. First, you control the Star Destroyer from space and assault Naboo. You shoot down lasers and weapons and bombardments and everything. And then you begin the invasion and escort clone forces down to the surface, beginning with a bombing run, and then you need to fight your way through the Gungans.
This is very, very bad.
And clear a landing zone for more Empire troops. Also, by this point, the rebels have enlisted the help of what's left of the droid army, so they're here too. And you control Vader as you slice your way through waves of droids, just like the Clone Wars, hey. And once you've made your way through, you get to face Yoda, eventually making your way out onto the Theed Palace Bridge overlooking the waterfalls. And with one final swing, you send Yoda plummeting to his death. Just like Maul, I guess, on Naboo, same thing. And then Yoda returns a few years later with robotic legs and comes looking for revenge. No, just kidding, that's not what happens. But it's not that hard to believe, right? In this universe, anyway. So one big question I have about this game is how would the lightsaber battles have worked? There's like heavy emphasis on this dueling, but surely they wouldn't have developed a complex lightsaber dueling system back then, right? And it'd just be more like the original Battlefront and Battlefront 2's lightsaber combat. Hack and slash kind of stuff, right? Oh, and also while all this was happening, Palpatine uses the Force to pick up dozens of blasters and fires them at Windu all at once, and then stabs him. So there's that too. Nothing too different here from Windu's original death, though, I guess. This time, at least, Windu didn't fly out the window. Oh, and Vader also comes back out of the palace, implying he's killed Padme and her babies, Luke and Leia. But this part's a little hazy. Alright, mission 3 is set on Dagobah, following the Battle of Yavin. The rebels have set up a base on Dagobah, but Yoda senses a looming Imperial invasion. So the rebels begin their escape, and you'll need to make your way across a swamp. Also, for some reason, Princess Leia is a Jedi by this point, even though Luke has hardly begun his training. I mean, they only kind of just arrived on Dagobah, didn't they, after Battle of Hoth? Anyway, Vader and Leia fight, but Vader doesn't want to kill his daughter, so captures her and flees to his TIE fighter. So you chase Vader as Han Solo in the Millennium Falcon, but he reaches his Star Destroyer. So you fly from the ground to space, fly into the Star Destroyer, disable the Star Destroyer, squadron style, then land in the hangar, locate the prison, free Leia, then use her to defeat Vader in a lightsaber duel. Let me remind you, this is all the same mission in the same game. The amount of mechanics and stuff that is going on here is nonsense. There is no way this would have ever been built. Okay, get this. Then the Star Destroyer, which has been disabled and destroyed, collides with the Death Star, which for some reason is still here, even though this is after the Battle of Yavin. I don't know what's going on. So you escape the Star Destroyer, and the Death Star plunges into the surface of Dagobah, destroying both the planet and the space station. And once again, this is all happening in this same mission. What is going on? All right, from the dark side perspective, this Dagobah mission, you invade the planet, use a flame trooper to clear a path and destroy the planet's native wildlife, the spider things, and then take control of Vader and confront both Leia and Yoda in a lightsaber duel to the death. In the meantime, Han has destroyed the Star Destroyer above the planet, which has crashed into the Death Star, and the Death Star is now plummeting towards Dagobah. So that's all happening in the sky above, and you can see it happening. So as Vader, you kill Yoda, and as you're fighting Leia, Yoda's Force Ghost appears, and he can be seen giving instructions to Leia on how to defeat Vader. So eventually you defeat Leia, capture her, and escape the planet just before the Death Star crashes into the surface and destroys everything. My goodness, what a game. Mission 4. We find ourselves on Bespin following the Battle of Hoth. Cloud City is being overrun with Imperials, and Lando gives the order to evacuate. So you assist with the escape, fighting off waves of Imperials, and eventually make your way to the Falcon to get off the planet. But then, the most unexpected turn of events, you're confronted with Dark Leia, who looks super weird and creepy, and what is this? So you play as Han and shoot at carbonite pipes and other environmental surrounds and objects to win. You defeat Leia. She's heavily injured, and as you go over to her, Han convinces her to return to the light side of the Force. I guess he, planted a kiss on her or something like that. And then Han carries Leia off into the Falcon. So, from the Imperial dark side perspective, you invade Cloud City, chase down and eliminate Han Solo, then play as a Dark Leia and face off against Luke in the Carbonite Chamber, and eventually defeat him, pushing him into the Carbonite Chamber. So, Luke's dead, Han is dead, and Leia rejoins Vader, and the two walk off into the sunset together. Super weird. The final mission is based on Tatooine after the Battle of Endor. From within the new Rebel base at Jabba's palace, yep, that's right, the Rebels turned the palace into a base, Leia and Anakin discuss Imperial movement in the Outer Rim. Suddenly, a Star Destroyer appears, and you fight your way through waves of Imperials, and then you race through Beggar's Canyon in a land speeder, preventing Imperial shuttles from landing in Mos Espa. And then you fly up to the Star Destroyer in the same mission, might I add, and use an astromech droid to overload the main power core and destroy it. And then you face off against Dark Luke as Anakin. Dark Luke appears. He's a Sith, and you're still Anakin. You're redeemed Vader, this guy is called. He's wearing the suit, but he doesn't have the helmet. Redeemed Vader. And as you're fighting, the Star Destroyer explodes overhead, creating dangerous fiery rain and debris, and you actually get to defeat Darth Luke. And Anakin feels a great loss in the Force and witnesses the death of his own son. Okay, so the dark side version of Tatooine, let's go. Dark Luke and Emperor Palpatine orbit over Tatooine in Imperial Star Destroyer. The Emperor tells Luke to go down and put an end to the rebellion. So you go down, you destroy some tractor beams, kill some rebels, secure a docking bay, and also kill some Jawas in the process because, they're there and they're attacking you as well. For some reason, Jawas also. And then you kill Lando Calrissian. What? Then chase down Han Solo through Beggar's Canyon, and he crashes and explodes right at the end, so both Lando and Han are now dead. Then you fight your way through the Rebel forces in a large-scale Battlefront-style battle, and eventually make it to Jabba's palace, which is the new Rebel base. You chase Anakin and Leia as Dark Luke all the way to the Sarlacc pit on sail barges, and then face off in a lightsaber duel as Dark Luke against Anakin on a sail barge hovering over the Sarlacc pit. And eventually, Dark Luke kicks Anakin into the Sarlacc, and that's the game. You call it a day. So, like I said, these are all of the alternate timeline missions in this game. There are the canon ones, these are the alternate ones, and I just want to wrap this up by saying there's no way this would have ever happened. This game is beyond bizarre. The ideas are so ridiculously far-fetched, and I mean, what even is this? Who even thought of this stuff? It's super hard to believe that LucasArts would have approved the go-ahead on some of these ideas, and even if they had, back in the day, what was this, like 2007, 2008, this game was being developed, George Lucas was still running the show, and he gave final approval on pretty much everything that happened and got released to Star Wars. So I can only imagine his reaction upon seeing some of the concept art. But then again, he had a strange obsession with Darth talent, so, you know, stranger things have happened. But I'd love to know what you guys thought of this game. Do you think if production had gone ahead that they would have released this? And would you have played it? And for more on cancelled Star Wars games, you can watch one of these videos here and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and join my Discord for lots more Star Wars gaming, cancelled, everything else. And thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.